Hello, in this video demonstration I'm going to show you a powerful tool that is very simple to use to effectively trade binary options. It involves technical analysis on a very simplistic level. As you can see, I have RSI indicators on both a daily and a 15-minute chart, as well as on the daily I have a regression channel drawn. The tool I'm speaking of is simple Trendlines. And this is a real powerful tool that should not be overlooked and should accompany any entry and exit strategy you may develop. Now, looking at a daily chart, you can see the US Canadian dollar from June through September was in a downtrend, and September that was reversed to the upside. That upside was again reversed to the downside. But here's something interesting. We have some trend lines. When they were broken to the downside, that put us in a downtrend, a micro trend. Now, when we started to test this upper channel and close above that upper channel on December 19th, 2012, that downtrend started to reverse to the upside. And the low on December 13th was a higher low than that of the low on September 14th. So we're making higher lows and higher highs. Now, looking at, and you can see that on, December 19th was the day we closed above that down regression channel, and on December 20th we closed above it again, but retested the touch of it. So you could see on December 20th was the real, key bar to play this move to the upside. Additionally, you can see on a longer term view, a longer look on it, the RSI indicator was showing that the RSI started to increase to the upside. So this was, showing signs of a trend reversing. All the things are in place that we could look for a move to the upside, and that move to the upside was a pretty big move on December 21st. And it was a day to use trend lines to make a good amount of money in the US Canadian dollar. Now, I will show you that on the 15-minute chart, going into the 20th, we had lackluster. Again, we're above that downtrend regression channel, and we have really not too much going on. We have one big spike down, and it's met with a spike up. There's really nothing to interpret here. However, a big move came when we broke out of the 20th's high on the day. So you could have taken, and you could see on the 15-minute chart that the RSI indicator is clearly showing a lot of underlying strength in the market. So you could have taken a trade on the 21st on a buy stop trigger of 0.98959 as your entry point, and that would have occurred right about 21:15 the evening of the 20th. Somewhere around there, this range right here. But you could see as soon as we broke out of that range, it was just sheer to the upside, and that was identified from a downward channel reversing to the upside on a daily, and then we go to a 15-minute chart and scale in to identify a specific price time action level to engage in. And that move was a very powerful move, and if you had taken contracts at any expiration, Optimarkets.com offers a numerous amount of strikes, expirations, times to take and any one of those contracts available at that time, you would have definitely benefited from identifying a trend in the market. And again, the key point in time was not on the 20th. The 20th gave us the setup. The key point in time was taking out the top on the 20th, and this all came to us from trend lines. Very simple trend line. Trend line to the upside was met with a micro downtrend, and that micro downtrend started to revert to the upside, and that is how we identify a trend in the usage of trend lines and regression channels, and how to play them by taking out a top. Now, using the same asset, the US CAD dollar, I'm going to show you a stagnant micro trend. This as our points of interest. So we have, kind of a tight range here, albeit this bar spiked down, but we closed above. So I'm not really going to take this this movement down with any significance, or am I going to take this move up with any significance? For the most part, our channel is right here, and you can clearly identify that. I mean, this can even be moved to to just show general concept in that tight little channel. Now, significant thing is taking out tops, and here is where we have our key zone. We have a high of 0.98850, and knowing that we have on an overall trend a move that can potentially be considered breaking out of a downtrend, and I'm going to draw yet another line here. If you see, this is all trend lines, and trend lines are so key in identifying what direction to go. You see we made a top here, and every day or every other day we made a lower high, and we even started to make some lower lows, and it was fairly consistent. But interestingly enough, we started to create this level of congestion. Even though we're in a short downtrend, a longer downtrend, we're starting to get a little level of congestion at previous low. So if you span out, you can kind of get a picture on what I'm saying. You can even take this trend line and move it down to here. We have some level of support here. We're forming a pennant, and things look like, something's going to happen in this range. We feel it, we just don't know where it's going to be resolved. And very well, this bar, had it not closed higher above this lower trend line, and it closed down here, we may have seen a leg to the downside. Be it as it may, we closed above that trend line, and we had some sideways movement in a tight range, and that sideways movement should have been an alert on your screens or whatever charting program you're using, an alert to break out of these zones. Additionally, we have the RSI very stagnant in between 40 and 50. On this bar, not only did we break above the channel that we're in, not only on these bars are we closing above this downtrend line. So on this bar, we close above that downtrend line. That should have been a prerequisite to say, an alarm to say, we're starting to break this downward. We're starting to break that downtrend. So here we would have been on alert to buy, and that alert to buy could have been on previous tops, and this top could have been one of them, but it's still in that range. I would say that this bar right here above this kind of congestion level would be a good zone to buy, and that was confirmed by the spike in the RSI. So now that we have that, we go to our finer level on our daily, and that was on the 18th of January, and we can scroll to the 18th of January and see that we clearly had a fairly significant pop and that was forecasted again by Trendlines. This time, however, it wasn't a reversal of trend, it was a breakout of an area of congestion. Now, the price level we were looking at was 98857, and you can clearly see 98857 was right around here, and you can see unscripted that we had up movement, up movement, up movement, up movement, and as if everyone on the street was watching for that number to break out of 98850, call it. As soon as we did, we had a huge expansion bar here, a little sideways action to spook out any people that didn't believe it, and then another leg up, and then a rip up. And let me tell you, this is textbook trend lines at its best, and this is how you make money trading binary options. And when you see something like this forming, go to Optimarkets.com or whatever platform you're using, plug in. This website has an enormous amount of contracts availability with strikes. You just plug in the contract and you put your risk levels that we spoke of, what your comfort zone is, X percentage of your portfolio to work, and if the trade works, you get paid. If it doesn't work, it's all in the numbers game and probables. Because if you're on the side of identifying your patterns and knowing your trends and knowing your levels, if you're on the side of knowledge, then it's only a matter of time before your win rate is in your column. And all you need to be right is 65, 68% of the time, and you're going to make money. If you're right 70, 75, 80% of the time, you're going to make an enormous amount of money. It's limiting your downside by investing in binary options and maximizing your upside with binary options by using simple tools like trend lines, regression channels, and simple price recognition and knowledge of key points previously, tops, lows, higher highs, higher lows, lower highs. These are the things that make simple trading the most effective for taking big profits in binary options.